is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering Penny Dreadful, Season 3, Episode 7, Ebb Tide. In this episode, I love this show. And I love that they're basically completely calling out performative allyship. And this is so honest and so brilliant, and I love it so much. And please, somebody burn Dorian's painting to the ground. Welcome to Unspoiled.
I laughed because I enjoyed that vision.
You just said that you weren't going to ruin an intro, Dan.
I know.
You just said.
And I did. I couldn't hold my laughter.
Did. Oh, you sound so sad.
I do. I was really proud for like a good solid moment of like, I did something right. and then I guess it was just, I didn't expect you to say that. And like remembering what his painting looked like and seeing it, what it would have looked like on fire, it tickled me.
His stupid ass painting. Ugh.
Oh, Gollum.
All right, let's start talking about this, because I can't tell you, when I first watched this episode last week, I was just ready to fucking talk about this shit pronto. I was mad about it that I had to wait so long. And this is like I said, the performative allyship thing. The dude who is on your side until he's bored or annoyed or whatever. Pick a thing that guys become when they're feeling sidelined, and that is the thing. And I think we have all been here, and anybody from any marginalized group has encountered somebody who has been on your side until really it came down to it, and then they weren't. And I love the fact that the show is willing to go there, because I just didn't expect them to be so like straight about it, even though I say straight, that's the opposite of what I mean. But I don't know. I thought that they weren't going to be as true to Dorian's character, or sort of treat Lily as like the magical woman who keeps him from getting bored. And instead they were like, no, he is who he is. Mm-hmm. And everybody else, it does not matter how utterly unique they are. It is never going to be enough for him, because it's not about them. Yeah, and he's insufferable.
Fucking Dorian Gray. He's fucking Dorian Gray. He's just gonna get bored.
Yep. So yeah, this episode killed me, and I loved it so much. Frankly, it's like just at this point now where Vanessa is completely secondary to me. Against Lily's story.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, all right, we start off with Lily at the graveyard, and it's a really interesting old-fashioned, like, wooden plaques in the ground, wooden crosses. There's some stone, but not much. And she sees a woman who is she's watching a couple of people shovel a grave open and put a small coffin into the hole. And she comes up to the woman and she asks if it was a girl. And she says, "My heart breaks for you." And then she's like, "Someday we won't have to suffer these indignities and humiliations. We will rise." And I was like, I'm not sure this is the place for this, Lily.
Yeah, I know. Like, she immediately was like, like, power to the people immediately after condolences.
Yeah.
I also want to say, I don't know what fucking Instagram filter they used for the scene. I really liked it. the cinematography for this scene. It felt very grainy, very old. Her dress, my God,
her dress, and the
that was
shawl.
amazing.
Is it a veil? It's more
It's like
a
a
bonnet,
veil.
I guess. That with a scarf draped over it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she says, "And know that your daughter rests in good company." Ow, motherfucker! You fucking cocksucker!
Yeah, Owen.
This fucking cat just got me with her back claws.
Ugh.
There's like a gash in my hand that is
Gash.
so deep right now
Oh,
that I can
no.
see the skin peeling apart. Like, oh, you fucking fuck.
Do you want to pause? Do you want to pause?
No.
Just keep going.
This is a
She
sacrifice
is
we
just
do.
like all day. She has been infuriating me. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna kick her out because she's gonna do this again.
I'll totally do it again.
Okay, let's stop. Get out of here, cat. I hope she heard me.
Get.
Oh God, I'm replaying the episode and I just got to the part where Renfield's like ball crawling all across the floor. Ugh.
Yeah.
It just like I'm gonna ask the listeners, how does this not hurt his dick? I don't understand. For a minute, I thought she was saying "God damn it" because my grandmother accidentally put the AC on and the AC is very loud, and I
Oh.
turned it off purposefully.
No, she's mad about life. Ay.
Do I want to go?
I'm going through my phone. The other day, this truck cut me off,
Mhm.
and I basically set my phone up to take a whole like burst of pictures of it as I went by it to like get the like how's my driving, call blah 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 number off of it. I'm like, I'm gonna call this motherfucker's boss, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna do that. I'm gonna get all these pictures off my phone. I'm totally not. At this point, no, it's not gonna happen. If
Oh,
it ever
I
happens.
do.
I would, but like now it's just been too long.
I
Yeah,
was like,
you have to do
not
that
going to
immediately.
pause for very long. But then when I kicked her out, I looked down and it was bleeding everywhere. So, she's so annoying. She's so cute, but fuck. And she's so dumb. Oh, she looks all over the place at all times. Like she's utterly shocked. And it doesn't matter what is happening. She will have woken up from a dead sleep and she'll still look at you with these wide eyes like she's like, what? You were just asleep. Nothing is happening. Oh, she's so stupid. Okay. Where were we? What were we saying? Okay. So she says she will rest in... Okay, everybody. I have some bad news. So my cat scratched my hand, which you heard in the recording. I pressed pause and got up to clean off my hand and put some Neosporin on. Came back, pressed record. Except that I hadn't pressed pause in the first place. So when I pressed record, it didn't record. And I noticed that after about 20 minutes. Press record. We tried to backtrack and recover some of what we had been talking about that hadn't gotten recorded. I watched it record because I was now paranoid about it. And then when we were done, I went back to edit the file and the file was gone. I have not had any issues with this recording software like Call Recorder, the one that I had been using up until a few months ago. I had constant issues on, which is why I switched over. I suspect that this was a combination of user error and the software, but we recorded 10 minutes about this episode and the rest of it is completely gone. And it really bums me out because this was an unusually good episode of Unspoiled Penny Dreadful, first of all, and it was also a great episode of Penny Dreadful. So I was really excited to talk about it because this is the episode where Dorian fucking hands... It makes me so mad that this happened. during this episode of all of them, because it is such a beautiful and as I said in the intro, honest example of how allies in general, not just specifically men in regards to feminism, but allies in general in regard to any minority, whether it be trans people or people of color or whatever, are all about it when the focus and attention and reward is on them. But then once it starts to shift and they aren't center stage anymore and they're not getting constant cookies for all of their good deeds and, oh, you're not like the other ones, then they start to get resentful or even worried that they're getting lumped in with all of the people that they had been previously separating themselves from mentally. And so the fact that the show went there, that Dorian hands Lily over to Victor the way that he does, and it's a combination of not only wanting to see her tamed and punished, but also just not giving a shit, because it just is so not an issue for this incredibly good-looking white cis het male. I shouldn't say het. I guess he's cis bi or pansexual or whatever. But yeah, he's bored because of course he's bored, because this doesn't fucking affect him. So he's not invested. And that just goes to show how this is, like, when people, it's performative allyship, you know, it's just when people want to be involved, they are, and when they are done with it, they are done, and they are done with the people, and they are like, it's just, they're able to put it so completely out of their minds, it's as if it never happened. So yeah, I am recording this after the, like, discovering the episode was missing. So Maggie and Dan are clearly not here. This is me talking alone in my office, because I just had to share at least a little bit of how I felt about this episode. There were just so many great moments. We have, you know, John Clare getting to see his family again and being accepted by them. And I have not forgotten the way that he was, and the fact that Lily is here because she was being basically made as a gift for him. And he has not completely redeemed himself in my eyes because of this, but this storyline has been so heart-wrenching. And the fact that he not only gets accepted back, but that he sits down and tells his wife everything is a huge indicator of the kind of relationship they have, that he's feeling honest with her and safe enough with her to tell her a story that most people would never believe. And not only does she believe it, but she says, bless Dr. Frankenstein then, because he brought you back to us, which, you know, I love this so much. I'm so glad that there's a storyline involving him that doesn't end with, like, I don't want to even say his heart broken, because everybody's heart has been broken, like, wherever he's involved, frankly. So I really loved that storyline. I hated the whole thing with Vanessa. And this is one of the things that I'm the saddest about, is that there was a pretty long conversation between me and Dan where Dan felt like he liked the storyline with Vanessa and her giving herself up to Dracula, because he was seeing it in the kind of, like, you know, all of us have this fundamental fear that we are just deep in our bones unlovable people. And that Vanessa has clearly been struggling with this fear, and that there has arrived someone in her life who offers their heart unconditionally and offers their love forever, knowing what she is. And they don't care. That's what they love about her, is her darkness. And I understood what Dan was saying, but in my opinion, what Dracula loves about her is not Vanessa. It is this other entirely separate being that she is carrying around that possesses her. And it's not like with Ethan, when he turns into a wolf, he doesn't remember things. And it's in some ways like a possession, but really it's part of him. You know, it's still, it's an aspect of him that he doesn't like to admit is there. With Vanessa, there's an entire history to this being inside of her that has nothing to do with her. So it doesn't feel like the same situation as with Ethan. And so her saying, I accept myself, and giving herself up to Dracula, it just felt like she was basically like, it bothered me that, first of all, they framed the I accept myself in terms of her giving herself to a dude, instead of her just accepting herself in a particular moment of power and agency on her own. It's this like sort of ritual thing of, I mean, she says, I accept myself, and then she leans back and lets him bite her in this extremely submissive sort of posture that did not feel to me like a victory in any way. And maybe that's what they want us to like see, is that she's acting like she's got the power here, but clearly he is the one with the power. So it might be intentional, but it just that whole ending just didn't work for me. It didn't feel in character. He wasn't convincing, in my opinion, and I don't feel like they have great chemistry. Like when they first met in the museum, their chemistry was fun. It wasn't super powerful, but you know, he's a goof, and so that's fine. Once we find out who he is, and him trying to seduce her and say that he loves her because she's the mother of evil, I just don't understand the draw. I don't understand her choosing what she chose based on the words that he said to her. So I don't know. I'm just feeling really frustrated by that. It just feels like the last couple episodes, the show wanted Vanessa to give in, and they decided that she would, regardless of whether it seemed like something she would actually do. So, you know, I have that issue. And going back to Dorian real quick, I'm really hopeful that Justine like notices that he took fucking Lily, and like it's probably too much to hope for, but I want her to like go and find his portrait and tear that shit apart. But I don't know, like I wouldn't imagine that he's moved it, because I don't know how you risk moving something like that without people finding out, because it's in such a strange place in his house, and it's so valuable that I don't think he could let other people see it. Although I don't know, people could potentially see it and not even know what it is. It's not like it resembles him in any way. So I just want her to like light that whole fucking house on fire. Frankly, like if she did that, then the whole place would just consume the painting too, and it'd be, you know, oh, wipe your hands of it, all done, you know. But he made me so angry throughout this episode. The way that he talked to Justine, first of all, Justine's crazy pointed shark teeth when she's talking to him. I can't decide if I like this character. Well, I like the character. The actress is what I'm kind of unsure about. But the way he talks to her, the way that he talks to Lily while they're taking their walk, and he's just so like condescending and dismissive of her wanting basic fucking equality and rights. And then the gall when she's chained up and he's laughing at her from like that balcony. I just want him dead so bad. And like dead isn't even good enough. I want him humiliated and then dead. I want him to be, I just want him to suffer. I really do. I just hate him so much. Like every time that he has been cool, I have like let myself get fooled into thinking that but I forget that whenever he's cool, it's just because he's excited about whatever's happening. It has nothing to do with actual morality or his desire to do the right thing or his convictions or belief in anything. He just does things because it's something to do. That's it. That's all there is to it. And I just constantly forget that and give him way more of the benefit of the doubt than he deserves. And I just hate him. I hate him so much. I hate like Victor. I hate, but it's in a much more like, oh my God, you are so pathetic. the kind of thing where I feel like a couple good slaps in the face, like somebody dumping a bucket of ice water over his head, and he might snap out of it. I don't think that, like, Dorian, he's how many, like 1,000 years old? Like, he says something about how he's seen empires rise and fall. So I feel like it's got to be at least like 300 or 400 years, right? I just don't think there's any redeeming him. He's not interested. That's not something that he wants. And I can't think of any, but and then there's Jekyll, which is such a weird, I really thought Jekyll was going to like turn into his own thing. And the fact that he's just here for this interesting subplot with Lily is kind of surprising to me, and I'm fine with it. But it is sort of strange because he's such a sort of wild card in that I kept expecting him and his temper to like be more of a plot point than it has been. And he has just been the vehicle for this serum to arrive in Victor's life, but he himself has not mattered. So yeah, I'm just like, this episode was so good, and I'm really bummed because I want to talk about it with everybody, but we have to move on, and we can't just like re-record on an episode that we already recorded on. It's never good. I've tried doing that in the past. It's stilted and strange, and it just feels unnatural, and it's just not fun. And I think that's part of what makes it unnatural, is that it's not fun. So I'm really sorry, guys. Like, I loved this one so much, and we had a couple of excellent inside jokes that got lost because we have fucking Renfield in the beginning licking her with his dick rubbing up against all the hay on the floor like some kind of crazy snake man. I don't know what the deal is with them licking Vanessa. They need to get over it. We had the jokes about Ethan Chandler's dads who are murder dads, and their dads who murder other dads, and they're also just murdering dads themselves. There were some really good ones, so I'm sorry. I really am. I hope that you guys understand, and I really like, if you were somebody who was looking forward to hearing what we thought of this episode and you're like wildly disappointed, I get it. I really do, because I had so much fun talking about this, and to have it happen not once but twice where a bunch of audio just disappeared, it is just heart-wrenching to me. It's always, podcasting is a real crapshoot where you just go up on mic and you just hope for the best and hope that everybody's on tonight and hope that the chemistry's good tonight. And sometimes it is not. And that night it was on more than it maybe has been this entire time. We were all just like on the same page with everything, and the jokes were just like, we were cracking ourselves up. So it's a real shame to me that you guys aren't going to get to hear it. But hopefully when we record on the penultimate episode, which is coming up, we're going to be able to get some of that good humor and magic back. So fingers crossed on that. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being patient. I hope that my solo ranting and raving was at least a little interesting to listen to if you made it this far. I'm not sure I would have. If I were listening and it just turned out to be one person talking all alone for 15 more minutes, I think I might shut it off. So if you didn't listen this far, I get that too. But thank you again for your patience, and we will see you very soon with the penultimate episode of Penny Dreadful. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.